machines and by algorithms or someone else's dreams. We have to be here in this office. We have to be there at that party. We drive down the streets just because. Let's not be robots. Let's be visionaries. Let's sparkle and beam and accelerate. Let's move what we want and where we want. And sometimes where we never dared to. And sometimes even without a purpose. Let us not be ruled by expectations. Let's rule our existence. Own the experience, not the car, and we will own the future. Audi On Demand, your premium mobility service.
So this is Audi On Demand, and what's behind the whole idea of the Audi Mobility strategy? I'm not going to talk about that, but I have two great people with me on stage. I welcome Bettina Bernhardt, who is Managing Director of the Audi Business Innovation, and then also please welcome Matt Carpenter, the Chief Financial Officer of Audi of America. I'm going to take the middle, then I have you here left and right, and then we dive into the Audi Mobility strategy.
Good morning.
Yes, sorry, please.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So the names were in the wrong position. I'm Matt, and this is Bettina, my friend.
Haven't you realized that? So, you saw the video. Welcome for everyone who's joining. You saw the video, and from the look and feel, it's a little bit different than we know from the brand so far. So, Bettina, what's behind this? It looks wild. Why is that?
So I think we will talk about it, but what you can see is that we have a new product live in the market worldwide. It's called Audi On Demand, and it's different because we are not selling cars, but promoting a service. And we realize we have a different target group. So target group is mostly younger, lifestyle oriented, and very interested in on-demand offers. And we are looking for users. And that's also a differentiation because we have to communicate a little bit more event-based. So I hope you like it because we like it, and the customers or the future users too.
Future users. This talk is titled Audi Mobility Today and Tomorrow. Let's share your vision regarding Audi's vision of mobility.
Yes, we're an international player, and what we realized that the needs of mobility changed, or are changing. It's much more flexible, especially in bigger cities. And so also our role is about to become a different one. So we move from a car manufacturer to a mobility provider. And that is closely connected to new products and new offers. And what does that mean for us? Because we are a premium brand, you can easily transfer that. We said it's closely linked to premium mobility products. And what does premium mean in a mobility segment? It's not so easy to define because that segment doesn't really exist. But what we can clearly say, it's closely linked to our premium fleet, and that means a premium driving experience. It's closely linked to a premium service, so ideally it's seamless and fully digital, and it's also with a quite strong personal touch. So you have, for example, someone who serves as a concierge too. And that will be our focus also in Audi Mobility General and also Audi On Demand.
Let's talk about how the service works in a little while. I would like to get Matt here and ask what's your perspective on mobility trends in the US market, because you are the US expert here, so please share your thoughts.
Happy to. So when we talk about premium mobility service and we try to align with what we see in the market, what are we really talking about? First and foremost, I think we've all seen permanent disruption in personal transportation, call it mobility, but there are some companies, particularly in the US, like Uber and Lyft, who have permanently reset consumer expectations on their access to premium mobility largely. And I think if you go into the research, it does suggest that some people, particularly in cities, urban centers, that formerly used to buy and own vehicles are now using almost exclusively, if not exclusively, ride-sharing, ride-hailing services like Lyft and Uber. Lyft, at the end of 2017, published a study in which of their almost 400 million rides that they sold in the US, about 250,000 of their users converted from traditional car owners to exclusively users of mobility services and ride-hailing services. So that is something that happened fast, and that's something that obviously has our attention and the attention of the worldwide markets. So that, coupled with some of the more demographic situations that we see across the US, particularly in the cities, items like congestion, traffic is obviously getting more profound, more complicated. We have growing populations across the US, particularly in the cities. And in some cities right now, you look at the footprint for urban planning, and upwards of 30–40% of an urban center is purposed for either parking or roadways. So that obviously isn't something that can continue for very much longer without being addressed in a meaningful way. So what are we doing about it at Audi? Bettina mentioned that it all starts with a great automobile. We think we're pretty good at manufacturing at scale and developing a brand and certainly flexing our engineering prowess. We're all here in San Francisco this week to talk about the e-tron Quattro, which is a big moment in time for Audi, but it's got to be more than just the cars. It's got to be more than just the hardware, right? So if you want to buy a car and you want to own one vehicle for 10 years, great. We will have, obviously, a network of dealers and a strong operation here in the US to take care of that. But what we're seeing, particularly in urban centers, is we have evolving needs of consumers, and what they really are looking for is that option, but additional access and flexibility. So if you want to buy a car and own it for 10 years, Audi has you covered. But if you want to use a vehicle for a long weekend with the family, or you're traveling to a different city and you're more comfortable in an Audi, or you just need a premium car for 1 day, 3 days, a week, a month, we also have in the future more options and more mobility services that are fit for you. So it's not one or the other, but I think the power of what we're doing with mobility at Audi is the opportunity to solve for both for our customers.
And we will talk about that a little bit more. First, let's get back to what you touched on. So, as a customer, how does Audi On Demand work for me?
I think primarily there's the need of users or customers to drive a car, maybe just for 1 day or a weekend. Matt just mentioned there are many use cases where you just don't use your own car, maybe, or you do not have an own car. So the access generally to a car is the key. The key to mobility is the mobile phone or the web. So it's quite easy. You just register at Audi On Demand, and you can book your car at a certain date, time, and location, and then everything will work for you. You get partly the car delivered, you can pick it up, you can drive it, and the whole payment process is included and fully digital. So it's a big step for us, and I think also for the offer to the customer to have the access to the Audi fleet fully, easily managed, and also possible at the touch of your button.
At the touch of a button, we're talking about experiencing Audi On Demand. We're talking about the US market. You came from a global perspective. So in which markets can customers experience Audi On Demand right now?
So we're out there next to the US in 5 markets. It focuses on Europe and Asia, China, and these 3 regions will play a major role also in the future. So we have big plans for China too. It's together with the US. These are the 2 most important markets for mobility in general. So the expansion plans are closely linked to Chinese cities and offers, and the same together with our partner. Matt will talk about Silvercar in the US. Quite ambitious planning to give customers worldwide the possibility to experience our product.
So maybe we will have some questions there later. So what's the approach in the US?
Okay, so Bettina mentioned Silvercar. So Silvercar are important partners to us in the US. So let me give a little bit of brief history just so everybody has a common understanding. We have an international audience here. But we've been partners at Audi of America with Silvercar, which is an Austin, Texas-based company for more than 5 years. And it really started with one very simple idea. And our partners at the company, and Luke Schneider, the leader who's here with us at the event, and I got to talking about, let's just go ahead and make airport car rental better. This is 2012, 2013, and the whole idea started with 200 Audi A4s, silver Audi A4s, at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. And it was meant to create a frictionless environment and process for the customers and really redefine what it means to have a meaningful and brand-appropriate, Audi-appropriate experience. And we all have our horror stories about airport car rental, whether it's waiting in line or the awkward upsell process or the mystery around what car am I going to get? Is it going to be a minivan? Is it going to be a pickup truck? Because that's all that's left. And it could be any combination of different ages, mileage, equipment, brands, models, etc. So we wanted it to be a frictionless process all the time, delivered by Silvercar, and a remarkable Audi vehicle all of the time. So what started in 2013 at one airport with 200 silver A4s has evolved a little bit. And our intentions with our partners at Silvercar is to not just continue to solve for a better airport car rental experience, but to be a more full-service mobility service provider, right? So now, today, we have acquired Silvercar last year, so it's one company, two teams working together, becoming one family, figuring out a lot of these important use cases in the mobility service area. And we're not just at airports, right? So now we have locations in 24 different markets across the U.S., a combination of urban mobility centers and airport mobility centers. And we're not done yet. Now, we've scaled up to a static fleet of over 2,000 cars in the month of August. We've established some new records in terms of customer reach, and not only did we service over 12,000 transactions in August, but also we took over 20,000 new bookings through Silvercar. And as we continue to complement one another's strengths and weaknesses, Audi is a big brand with prowess in engineering, design, manufacturing, distribution at scale, etc. Silvercar being experts in fleet management, having the know-how to build the right digital customer experience, etc. We think we're both better because of the partnership that's evolved over the last 5 or 6 years. And we think there's some very important next steps that we're all going to take, and I think the questions will get us down that path in a moment.
Yeah, mobility partner. So you touched on Silvercar, your mobility partner in the US. Maybe Tina, you want to add the global perspective.
So in general, there is no global partner for all countries to realize mobility solutions. So we were looking for the right solution in every market. It's a global product, but a national approach. So as Matt said, in the US, it's Silvercar as our partner. In Europe, we mainly work with our dealers. So it's a slightly different concept, but the dealers are fully integrated in the offer. They own cars and they have processes in place. In China, for example, we work together with operations partners and the dealers. And we build up the business together with clear roles in the whole customer process. So the customer just uses the app, gets the car, and the processes behind are organized with the right partners in place, but separate almost in every region.
We're talking about Silvercar as a mobility partner. Tina just alluded to the dealer network. What about the dealer network in the US?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's a very important problem to solve here. So I view it as an opportunity. We, as Audi, and together with Silvercar as well, we need to focus on delivering mobility solutions with our current asset portfolio in mind, right? So our dealers are our partners, our dealers in the US are our assets. They have not only already brand appropriate facilities and staff that's well trained and know-how in taking care of customers, but they also have a physical footprint. So over 300 locations across the US, And of course, no model in automotive has ever worked in the United States at scale without the buy-in and the collaboration with the dealer partners. So our first meaningful step along those lines in triangulating this new world of mobility between Audi, Silvercar, and our dealer partners is a new service that we're going to launch in the Dallas-Fort Worth market called Audi Select, which is Audi's co-developed service that is along the lines of subscription offerings that we all see across the different markets. There's a lot of different brands that have put subscription type products in the market. Audi Select will be our first flexible subscription-like product that we launch. And if you're a customer in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, it's available for you today. So it'll combine all the things that we think we're good at, which is manufacturing great automobiles, all of the things that we know that our dealer partners are good at, which is taking care of the customers at scale, and all of the things that we know our partners at Silvercar are very good at, which is developing a very effective piece of technology that enables the kind of user experience that we aspire to deliver each and every day at Audi for our customers, and the fleet management and operational know-how that it takes to run a complicated business model where you're servicing many, many customers with many, many cars, not this one-for-one model where you get an Audi and you get an Audi and you get an Audi, but we all get all of the Audis, and that's what we're trying to build. We're trying to deliver with some access and some flexibility to solve for as many customer use cases as we can.
Thank you, Matt. Now we talked a little bit about mobility today. Let's finish with talking about mobility of tomorrow. What's on the horizon, Bettina?
For us, it's quite clear. It's the scaling within the countries, so that means more hubs and availability in different cities for all countries, and at the same time more markets to be covered. So the plans are going up to 15 markets until 2020, and concentrating, as I said, with our China and Europe and Asia. And at the same time, we have plans to integrate, and that's quite important because we're talking about the e-tron today, soon the EV fleet. The e-tron is a perfect car, especially in some countries, to get some confidence in the new technology, to use it temporarily by the on-demand concept. And we have much more use cases in planning. Matt just mentioned Audi Select. There are more things up to come for the customers to have flexible offers connected with our cars. So we're looking forward to the next years, and the basis for all of that, to just mention that part, is the IT. So digital services, we all know, is mainly based on a platform that makes it possible to give use cases for customers and to connect the demand with the supply. And we have developed that platform. Silvercar has a platform in place, and that's also for the next years up to come to connect those platforms that we will serve international users. So users traveling from China to Europe can use Audi on demand idly with one account, and all other countries should be in place too, so that we as an international brand give our customers access to the Audi fleet worldwide.
Thank you for that outlook. Matt, anything to add to that?
Yes, growth is the plan at Audi, and we have a lot of room to grow here in the U.S. market. The brand is very much in a leadership position in other parts of the world. We're working on that, and frankly, we think electrification is a big part of that for Audi, which is kind of the moment in time that brought us all together here in San Francisco. And we think mobility services is a big part of the equation as well. So we're going to have new products to sell and new services to put into the market to take care of our customers in their pursuit of either accessing those vehicles in a long period of time, like a traditional ownership model, buy a car, keep a car for a long time, or if you just need an Audi for a long weekend with the family, or anywhere in between, or both. We really think that the key to success as a mobility provider long term is to be able to solve for owning a car, sharing a car, using a car, etc. And we have all the right resources and all the right partners around us between our dealer network, between our partners at Silvercar, and all the know-how we have at Audi of America. So big news for us is on the branding front, along the lines of firming up our footprint for mobility services in the U.S. Silvercar is now Silvercar by Audi. So making it very clear that the two brands are one team working together to deliver smart solutions for our customers in the market, and we'll see exactly how far we can go. But I'm very excited about it, and I get all the right energy from the team every day that the journey that we're on is one that's going to lead to good things for us and our customers.
Thank you. And I think energy is the right buzzword for me to see how much energy is in this room. We have one mic for questions. So if anyone has questions right now, there is the first. Please go ahead.
Thank you. When can we expect something like Audi Select in the European market and elsewhere? And could you give us an idea about what sort of revenue expectations you have for the mobility services and digital businesses that are outside of the classic ownership model? Thank you.
So first of all, the Select part, we are live with Select in 2 countries in Europe, in Germany and Denmark. And that use case will be integrated in Audi On Demand additionally. So those countries, and UK is at the moment in rollout phase, we will have that offer to the customer too. So your question related to what do we have expectation financially in that product? One thing is clear, we just don't do that to have another marketing program out there. For us, it's a business model, and therefore we have a clear view on how we earn money additionally with our dealers, as I said before, and with our partners. We integrated those who have the right assets already in place. For example, the dealers, they have the cars, and we additionally use them for customer use cases like mobility. And behind that is a clear plan to increase the utilization and not to just set up an additional program that needs additional cars and also additional costs.
What's that?
Thank you. Just to be clear about this, I still don't understand, what is your, other companies have given sort of a portion of their sales as a revenue from this business. Porsche, for example, has said a double-digit percentage of their revenue should come from digital services and mobility services, etc.
Yeah.
Could you give me a precise sort of indication, even just in terms of something like that? And my understanding was that there was Audi Select in Germany, but it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not aware of any subscription-based program in Germany from Audi.
Yeah, that will be integrated in the Audi On Demand. It's right. We started with Select first, where you could choose different cars within 1 year, and it will change to the subscription model integrated in Audi On Demand, which will be Germany one of the next markets to be launched in Europe. Probably next year. Yeah. And we have targets related to mobility. So we defined in 2025 that about 1 billion will rise out of the digital business, and mobility will be one main part of that.
And is that revenue? I spoke to Bodo Uber one time, and he referred to something called gross merchandising value, which is not revenue. It only captures sort of the gross transaction value. Are you talking about 1 billion of Audi revenue by 2020 will come?
Yeah, the board talked about the revenue part in the past. So we have clear targets to realize and also to clearly earn money with the digital business. Yeah.
Okay, maybe one last question with a look at the time. Anything else?
Hello, I come from Beijing, so I'm concerned about Audi Mobility realization in China. Could you tell me which company is your partner in China? Thank you.
Yeah. So we have the dealers mainly and the smaller operations partner at the moment in Beijing. We do not communicate about that company. It's connected and working for us. We have a clear, did you use it already, Audi On Demand? please have a look at the app. Download the app, Audi On Demand Plus in Beijing, and we cover about 300 square kilometers already with a delivery service, so the cars can be booked. The cars will be brought to the customer, and they can choose out of a wide range of models in Beijing. So the plans until 2020 are additional 15 cities, together with the dealers and further operation partners.
Thank you.
Just maybe one quick point from the gentleman's question regarding the economics of Audi Select. So I don't have, admittedly, a number I can quote in terms of overall turnover that it's going to produce in the U.S. or contribution margin, which is probably the term that you were referring to in your previous interview. But what I'm highly confident in is we've designed a product, we've tiered a product, it includes enough value at the price point where the unit economics are positive for us and for the dealer partners that we'll be implementing as our operating partners together with Silvercar. And as it scales and gets bigger, the financial picture gets better and better and better. So we feel really good about the unit economics, but admittedly, it's very early innings for us to come out and say it's going to be 20% of our contribution margin. It's going to be $1 billion in net turnover by this year. Frankly, there'd be too much speculation for me in that kind of quote from a U.S. perspective to put it on the table today. But as we learn, again, early innings, as we learn, we're going to come to the market and announce our intentions on how big we want to make this. But we know it's going to be important, we know it's going to be meaningful to the customers, and we know that the early unit economics make sense for us.